All right, folks, how we doing? How are we doing tonight? And that is too fucking loud. Sorry to blow your ears out. Overcompensated for an audio issue we were having earlier. We'll just turn that down then. All righty. Okay, so we got some stuff. We might watch some videos tonight. I was kind of thinking we might watch some old like training videos for fast food restaurants. I saw Bryden doing that the other day. Seems like fun. But we got a little video to watch right now. Let's go ahead and go to Windows Capture. And then we might be joining our good buddy Matt Forney, maybe Artistic Layman in the Hangouts. But first, let's go ahead and watch this. This is the Sarkeesian Effect story by Davis Arini, stolen from Down Chunder. I'm not really going to have much to add to this. We're just going to share it and have a good laugh about it.
I would like to tell you a story. It is a monster story. Once upon a time, in a great land, there was a demon.
This is Davis Arini. I'm Italian.
I'm a white nationalist Holocaust denier.
Just another alcoholic womanizer.
I am likewise a science fiction author. Filmmaker.
Nothing to do then, but light a smoke and watch the fireworks go down.
Can we go now? Why? I like him. He's such a nice guy.
I served as a corporal in the Canadian Forces and studied history at McMaster University. I am a huge white nationalist on paper.
Although it might offer a bit of knowledge.
If you're looking for some meaningless sex, go to Halifax on vacation.
But there is a war with machines coming. And you gotta decide which side you're on.
Or it might offer a bit of pleasure. This demon, like all, was a parasite.
And thank you for visiting this Patreon page.
I am going to ask for your favor, 1 minute of your time.
If you can toss us $5, $10, or $15.
But then some...
I'm just going to go out and say it. Davis looks better when he has hair. Like, I know, yeah, you're balding. Okay, it's fine. You're 40 years old. You're fine to bald. But the shaving the head thing, I'm sorry, guys. I know a lot of y'all do it out there. I just think it's a little try-hard.
something happened.
The belief that women are somehow a naturally weaker gender is a deeply ingrained...
Oh, Anita. The truth is far darker than you might imagine. But it's out there.
You see, the demon. The wise.
Yes, Chad, he does have hair. He's balding in, like, the George Costanza way. Okay? He's not completely bald like Professor X. He shaves his head. But he does have hair. Or he can grow hair, I guess I should say.
And crafty. And genius at manipulation. Was not truly clever.
But Jordan and I, we already make high-quality YouTube videos. With this project, we're taking it to the next level. Hello. How's it going, folks?
You know, I'm still pretty cool with Jordan. But the bathtub thing is funny. I mean, even he would admit now that was a bad idea. But yeah, that's forever gonna get thrown back in his face. He knows it too, but it's funny. What can you do?
We're going to create a high-quality product that will go down in the annals of history as a high-quality documentary that, with any luck, changes the world.
And the Oscar goes to...
We could be interviewed on The Daily Show.
And not as the guest to be ridiculed, but the guest to joke with.
We could be on Fox News. We could be on, Red Eye, Fox and Friends.
I'm Davis Arini.
I just want to pause this for a second. Red Eye, minor YouTube personality has unrealistic expectations. It's the headline.
Writer, lecturer, and... Quite frankly, we disagree on almost every hot button topic that there is. Nonetheless, we're good friends.
I have decided that it is best for me and best for the project that I terminate my working relationship with Davis Arini.
Now, normally I try and speak very intelligently about things and not be mean.
Go watch Jordan's video on Roosh. It's an hour long and it's very tedious, but you'll see these occasional glimpses of Elliot Rodger.
No, I'm going to blame others for my failings.
Good news, everybody. Owen Arini Productions is back in business.
Men who like to kill whores in Grand Theft Auto 5 and then take their money.
I find him genuinely disturbing. He is a frightening man.
But then something happened.
Movies cost money. Now, if that's enough for you, there's a link down below to the Fund Anything campaign that we are using for the post-production process.
Do not give any money to the GoFundMe or the Fund Anything campaign that Davis has set up.
Documentaries generally take about 2 years to edit. Nailing this thing down in 6...
The car hitting him is just so perfect. I'm sorry, that just gets me each time. Each time they just got to it. Oh, this is good stuff.
6 months, it's because I'm very, very good at what I do and I'm very fast at editing.
Davis is as fast at editing as anybody I know in Hollywood. I know all the keyboard shortcuts. I am very, very quick with editing.
Davis has been wasting time for 6 months now.
Bloody good editing, in fact.
He has missed multiple deadlines.
My dad in particular is actually who I'm thinking about whenever I'm putting all of this together.
He has screwed up our finances royally.
When all he wants to do is achieve material wealth.
So $5,000 for that. $5,000 for private investigator fees. These guys are not cheap.
And Davis, based on that footage, came to the conclusion that Anita had been raped by her father.
He said that I believe that Anita Sarkeesian was molested by her father. That's completely misconstruing what I said.
This film is not going to be harassment. This is not going to be cyberbullying. This is not going to be digging through dirty laundry just to discredit somebody's character.
Davis is a screw-off that is milking this project for all it's worth.
And I've just completely streamlined my life so that I can focus basically full-time on this, as well as writing and doing the YouTube videos, which I regularly do, and the podcasts.
He has fucked up everything to do with this production.
I didn't screw up. I can't screw up.
Agree with...
I'm sorry, I gotta take nitpick here. I've completely streamlined my life so that I can work full time on this, except for the writing and the videos and all the. But that's all you did before this. Like, what did you cut out? Like, guys, I completely streamlined my life for making these streams, except for working at the Box Factory and going to the comic book store and watching shows on Netflix and playing Nintendo and hanging out with my friends. And but other than that, other than all that stuff, I
us or not, you can respect our integrity.
Despite the budget, it is looking like a proper documentary.
That's as far as the story's got so far.
Rock and roll.
Booyah.
And this movie will be done. Come hell or high water, I'm going to see this movie done. And it is going to be, well, it's already something that I'm proud to put my name on. Quite frankly, most of my critics have no interest in debate or intellectual integrity. They're just trying to attack me as a person.
Booyah.
That's bullshit.
Oh Lord! So that was originally Down Chunda, I believe. I don't have a link to the original. Sorry, it's mirrored on the Sigma channel there. Yes, Chad, I agree. It looks way better with hair. Like, yes, you're balding. A lot of men your age are balding. A lot of men, people think balding is like an old man thing, but I mean, I knew a couple of guys like right out of high school. They were already hair was starting to thin. It's just sort of something that happens. Hang on. Let's see if we got our buddies in the Hangouts. Looks like Luke set up a Hangout. Do the weightlifting video. I don't know. That one's pretty gay. That was just really like an in love with his own reflection kind of fucking video. That was right when he was allegedly abusing Trenbolone, is it called? Which, you know, if you get off of that too fast, you can have some problems, such as crashing tea and impotency and things of that nature. Hey Luke, how's it going?
I am not good at hiding my intelligence.
This is indeed true. We were just watching the history of the Sarkeesian effect.
A fantastic flashback from 2016.
Oh man, a little bit of cringe for me because you know there's clips from my podcast in there, and it's like, God, some of the dumb shit he would say that I should have like challenged, like, but whatever, you know. I'm not gonna beat myself up over it. I've already beaten myself up over that enough. Like, yeah, I should have. I went along with his bullshit way too long. That is on me. Somebody says, doesn't he brag about having a 225 bench that's intermediate? I don't know. I couldn't tell you guys. I couldn't tell you what he's got going on. Forney might be joining us. Hey, there he is. Hey, Forney, how's it going?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you fine.
Yeah, my audio is wonky, as always.
Forney, of course, broadcasting live from some European hellhole. That's always.
I don't know, man. You know, I can walk out the street without a mask, which you can't do in large sections of the land of the free.
I can do that here. I mean, the governor says I can't, but like literally the whole rest of the state government is ignoring him.
Well, I said large sections, not the hellhole where you happen to live.
It's funny too. The whole rest of the state government, our governor is basically Saddam Hussein in the spider hole, still thinking he's in charge of Iraq. Like the whole rest of the government, like all the police departments and the state sheriff, like the state police, they've all said, "Yeah, we won't enforce this." The legislature of the state has already passed something repealing all his fucking edicts, and they're in the process of impeaching him, and he's just acting like nothing's going on. He's like issuing statements like, "Yep, better wear your mask."
Well, thank God somebody's standing up to it.
Like he's just him and his fucking tranny sidekick are just like, "You better wear your mask." Well, what are you gonna do? What the fuck are you gonna do about it?
As I'm glad people are standing up to it. There's like a whole bunch of like Texas sheriffs and Ohio sheriffs says they're not going to enforce the mask mandate. And I don't think I'm breaking any confidences by saying this. We'll probably be talking about it on the Terror House Radio this weekend. Bryden, my co-host, was yelled at by some lady because he went to a supermarket without having a mask on. And he just told her that it was a bad idea to accost strange men.
There's still some of the stores around here still insist on the masks, and it's like, I realize when you're a business and, you know, when on the government level, daddy and mommy are fighting, you don't want to get in the middle of it, you know? So you're just going to err on the side of not getting in trouble. I can understand that. That said, though, a lot of the smaller businesses around here, they don't give a shit. Like, my local comic book store, and again, this is run by old fucking hippies and shit, you know what I mean? Like, the guy who runs it is quite the old fucking Bernie bro lefty, but you go in there without a mask, he don't fucking care. I went in there one time and I had my mask on and he didn't. He was like, "Oh, did you want me to put my mask on?" And I'm like, I took mine off in that moment. I was going, "No, it's all bullshit." And he just kind of laughed. Like, who cares?
Well, that's a good thing. It's also, you know, a good thing for the corporations, and all those small businesses will be gone in about 6 months' time.
Yeah, we'll see. Stuff ain't doing too bad around here. I mean, it's there's bad news all around, but yeah, this stuff ain't doing too bad. I think there's a lot. I think that there's certain areas of this country that are going to get hit worse than that. New York's going to be a fucking ghost town. Like, New York is going to be in real fucking trouble for years to come as a result of this.
Well, it probably already is. I mean, you can't enforce social distancing in restaurants in a place like Manhattan. They have no fucking space. Like, you go walk into a lot of bars in Manhattan, and like, are they even like 6 feet across or whatever? Like, they're packed into tiny little cubby holes.
New York's going to go back to the bad times of the 70s and 80s for them.
Yo, dog, I heard you like masks, so I put a mask over your mask with masking tape so you can masquerade as the mask. Now,
tell you, not that I condone anything, it'd be a hell of a time to rob a place right now. Just disappear into the crowd with everyone else wearing a mask.
Oh. Not that I support political extremists, but now would probably be a good time to have a KKK rally.
Oh, somebody got in trouble for
they're wearing their masks.
Somebody got in trouble for wearing a KKK mask in the supermarket. I think it turned out it was a black guy that was just shitposted or something. like just real life shitposting.
Yeah,
I know the media would have you believe otherwise, but there are black people with a sense of humor still left. So how's things going with Terror House there, Matt? I hear you guys were beating Ben Shapiro.
Yeah, I don't know. It's like of the day.
Wait, what's this?
That's good. That's good. Yeah, it's funny. It's funny because we actually did a Terror House today, a book giveaway recently. We had a little thing going called the Neat Literary Relief Fund, where people would send us their stories of just how they've been suffering as a NEET due to this lockdown or whatever. And we gave them free copies of one of our books, Into the Vortex by Brian Eckert, which is related to some of the things you've been discussing with Owen Benjamin. Since Into the Vortex is about a retard who starts a cult in rural Idaho, and it doesn't go very well. It's a great book. Check it out. But I was issuing the free copies today. I was doing it by buying people gifts on Kindle and then sending it to their email addresses, which is something that KDP tells you to actually do to promote your book. And right now I'm locked out of my Amazon account because of suspicious transactions.
Oh, that's bullshit.
I'm assuming it was some automated thing because, Terror House has its own, Amazon account, but I've had it for 2 years and I never bought anything with it because, it's company money. So I sent in my thing to get it unlocked, and they say they'll get back to me within 24 hours. I
sent Amazon gift cards, I think 3 Christmases ago to some casual friends. I didn't know what to get them, and it was like 4 $10 bill gift, 4 $10 gift cards. But I did them right in a row to these different email addresses, and that was enough to lock up my Amazon account for a day. I had to And
so it's a common thing.
Yeah, I think that was probably just an automated thing that hit you.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was. It's just retarded. I mean, because I'm using the same bank account that's like they're paying royalties to.
Oh, that's right.
And again, I'm literally following their instructions. If you go to KDP, the publishing arm, it tells you that giving away Kindle books is a great way to promote your book on social media and whatnot.
Yeah, well, that's right, Chad.
And of course,
the book is on Baratoria.
And of course, this comes as we're ready to release a new book. Well, I'll see what happens in the next 12 hours. And if Amazon decides to fuck us, you can always buy the books elsewhere. Speaking of which, buy our books.
So yeah, you got a book about Baratoria, right as it's trying to happen.
Yeah, basically.
Did you
Into the
see
vortex.
How big that swath of land he wanted? Like, I brought up a map on the one stream just because he's naming off all these states, and I don't fucking know any of those shitty flyover states. So let me take a look. And he wants this swath of land that basically goes all across the Northwest, like into the Midwest.
So he wants to buy like a large swath. He basically wants to buy out entire states.
Like, I don't know how wide this would be, but let's say, I don't know, let's say it's 50 miles wide, but, how many miles long is it? I mean, like, I'm thinking, and he's like, yo, we just need to raise $4 million. I'm like, I know there's a whole lot of nothing up in that corner of the fucking country, but I have to imagine a patch of land that's stretching across these giant-ass states is going to run you more than $4 million. Don't call me an expert on fucking real estate, but that would be my uneducated guess.
Well, I mean, first off, this would cost far more money than he's ever going to have. I mean, even though land is cheap up there, it's not. That's a lot of fucking land, number one. Number two, there are other people who own land in that area. Number three, the federal government owns a lot of land in that area. The federal government basically owns entire swaths of western states, and I don't think the federal government is interested in selling to a guy who basically wants to do Waco 2.0. Number four, I mean, I was watching one of your streams, and he's talking about it's going to operate on the honor systems. We're going to have bears, but we need to stop people from jerking off in a tree or something.
Yeah, no jacking off. It's like the one rule. It's no jacking off.
That's a really fucking weird place to go. I mean,
he talks about jacking off and porn a lot. Now it's always like, I don't look at porn. But, like, imagine if you went up to somebody in the supermarket, and you were like, you were just maybe like, excuse me, do you work here? And they turn around and they scream at you, I don't watch porn! Aside from thinking that person's insane, I'm probably going to think they watch porn. I mean...
It's insane, ladies and gentlemen. There's two types of people. People that look at porn and people that lie about it.
I mean, I'm not sitting here like, oh, yeah, porn's actually good for you or something, but there's something about being, like, so fucking preoccupied with being proud of the fact that you don't jerk off that I'm not sure that's healthy either.
Well, he talks about it in like this weird prurient fashion, like he's getting off on it. Like, he's not, like, warning people, like, yeah, don't do this. Like, he always has to go to, like, the most pornified descriptions of it possible. It signals a rather immature mind. It's like like how feminists and leftists like to use made up insults like fuckboy and cock nozzle and something and stuff like that. So that just sounds really juvenile and was cooked up by a person who spends way too much time online. Owen Benjamin's like the right wing version of that. Like, just jerking off in a tree and jerking off in stumps and just his mind going to all these weird places. And this is like the first thing that comes out of his mind. It's not like he's it's not like he's been ranting for a while and he just slowly built up to a crescendo. It's like 2 minutes in, jerking off in a tree.
Or it's like somebody mildly criticizes him and then is like, well, I gotta go, and he's like, yeah, I bet you're going to watch porn. Like, okay, what the fuck, dude? Like, stop bringing it up.
Yeah, and like that's the thing that's like the example of what he thinks that people are going to abuse the Beartopia for, like jerking off. Like now I'm just thinking of like I'm thinking of like Yogi Bear. It's like that's not mayonnaise in those picnic baskets.
I'm a big old pervert, and I would never be like, okay, no jerking off. Like, it just wouldn't have come. Like, I would have thought first, like, okay, don't wander off and like fuck in the woods, like, because people might kids might stumble on you, whatever. Like, don't take your wife and like, take her behind a bush or something. Like, okay, that I'd understand, but no, he's immediately like, you'll be jacking off in the woods. Like, okay, I wasn't planning on it, but if anything, now I want to, because I'm just that much of a contrarian.
Yeah,
your business.
And I don't want to sound like too much of a shill, but it is eerie how like Into the Vortex like goes into this process in great detail. Like I don't think Brian Eckert like was thinking of Owen Benjamin when he wrote the book or really cares about him. But I'm not going to reveal the plot twist. But yeah, this guy starts a commune in rural Idaho, and it swells to a point where anyone can basically just show up, and shockingly bad things happen.
Well, there's that phrase, the banality of evil, and I think the reason you'll see so many parallels is because these guys, they may think they're the genius that should run society, but they're usually pretty fucking predictable. They're usually pretty fucking basic at their core. I knew somebody else that went crazy and wanted to start a cult. He just wasn't as successful at it.
Yeah, tell us more about Mike Anisimov. Who also wanted to start a cult in rural Idaho.
Hey, at least Mike Anisimov had good taste, okay? None of that basic bitch, let's play Sonic 2 crap, okay? He knew Sonic 3 and Knuckles was the best 2D platformer on the Sega Genesis.
Actually, that's another point I'd like to bring up. How's this Beartopia going to be like financially sustainable? Yeah, he's going to raise all this money to buy it, but like maintaining a lot of land requires money and stuff to you got to clear away wildfires, build and maintain structures, roads, all that stuff.
Well,
reminds me of Anisimov wanted to fund his neo-reactionary commune by having people do online poker.
The plan is, Owen is going to run around these woods with a hockey mask on, searching for teenagers that are jacking off, and he's going to kill them. And when he does that, he'll just take out whatever's in their wallet, and that'll help fund it. Some teenager has $17 cash in his wallet. You just got to do that enough times. That's all.
I just figured he was going to go to if he's running around killing people in the woods, that might attract people. I mean, Jason Voorhees didn't stop anyone from going to Crystal Lake every summer.
I don't know what the hell he thinks. You know what? Part of me, the more cynical part of me thinks, he knows he's not going to fucking get enough money for this, and he's never promised it's going to happen. It's just throw me money for this thing that may or may not happen. Like one of the things he promised, and I was astounded at the balls here. He said, if you donate $400 to this idiotic fucking plan, I'll make sure you get a copy of my and Amy's books if and when we write them. That's amazing. That
like he doesn't have wait, back up. He doesn't have a plan to write a book.
He has no idea to write a book. Has apparently not started a book, but if and when he or Amy writes a book, you'll be sure to get a copy. That's one hell of a deal. He sold you a book that may or may not ever exist for $400.
I'm not even sure that rises to the level of a grift. That's just retardation.
I'm telling you, Matt, it's what you need to start doing. Terror House needs to start selling people books that may or may not exist.
I'm going to start selling people timeshares in Belarus. If you give me $500 for a timeshare, you can get one book. Just one book. Don't get greedy. $500 a piece. Come on.
I'm just saying, for $400, I should be able to fuck Amy. I mean, I don't even really want to. It's just, for $400, I should at least be allowed to.
Is she hot?
Not really. I mean, she's with Owen fucking Benjamin. She's better than he deserves, but that's because he doesn't deserve anything but to die penniless and alone in the gutter.
Man, I wouldn't
I'm
go
just
that
saying,
far.
the option should at least be on the table for $400. All right. Although I don't want Owen in the corner screaming about how I'm crushing it.
Here we are.
Like,
Too much plastic surgery. I give her a 6.
I mean, she looks
She's in
kind of
shape, at
distant
least.
and dead inside, but then again, if I had to be around Owen Benjamin all this time, I'd be fucking disassociating too a lot.
I don't know. She looks like my aunt. Wait. He's got like a bear pelt? Oh, he's really committed to the bit, hasn't he?
It's not like bear means something else. He's gonna have his camp right next to the twink camp.
By the way, Cynic and Chief, yeah, you should buy Into the Vortex. It is a really good novel. You should all buy all of our books, because all of our books are awesome. Hey, I don't know. Maybe I'll be able to start mailing out review copies in September. Maybe you'll get a package in the mail, Beckloff.
Oh, awesome.
You'd love this book.
I'll read it while I'm wandering the bear trail. I gotta make sure something to keep my mind off jacking off, because that's not allowed. And once they say it, then it's all you want to do. It's like saying, don't think of an elephant. What's the first thing you think of, I wasn't planning to, Owen, but now it's all I want to do is jack off in your woods. They're just going to be like damn kids and sneak in his woods and jack off to piss him off. Run off.
Part of me hopes he goes through with this, or at least like a portion of it, because like the results would probably be tragic, but also be just utterly hilarious.
Oh, dude!
Like we saw the rise and fall of Kurt Doolittle in record time.
Oh my god, that's amazing! I don't think I talked about that on here. I watched that stream it was on DLive, and they're hard to watch after the fact.
Yeah, I was on with Sharia LaBeouf.
Yeah,
but he put the stream up on his YouTube channel. If you want to watch it there, I'll link it in the chat.
So Doolittle, he found it propertarianism, which is like even more autistic kind of libertarianism. And then he's talking. He's larping about the fucking second Boogaloo. And then he's giving a speech with all his buddies, all the people that are his followers, and some Black Lives Matter dindu goes up on stage, and we get to watch Kurt Doolittle go black. He fucking pisses his pants, and then starts talking about how black guys are stronger and have bigger dicks.
He literally said that. Yeah.
What?
Watching, I don't know if you can find it on YouTube now because he took his channel down.
Watching... The guy who streamed that, John Mark, was like his number 2 in command. The guy was, prophesizing, if Kurt Doolittle is like Jesus, John Mark was like John the Baptist. And after this rally, John Mark is apparently so heartbroken and disillusioned and 100 years of his life on this bullshit that he just deleted all of his social media and all of his YouTube videos. And like his wife or someone just said, he's done. He's not coming back.
Well, I mean, that's a normal fucking response. I mean, I don't blame him. Like, you were following some idiot, and then, you got disillusioned by it, and you just like, no, fuck this. Yeah, like, okay, yeah, I'm not even gonna throw stones at him for this. I actually, it turns out, though, that this was all a very elaborate publicity stunt by the website Blacks on Boys. I don't know if you've heard this yet, but yeah, they funded this whole thing from start to finish. This has been a dog fart production. from start to
By the
finish.
way, I should also point out that the rally that Kurt Doolittle spoke at technically wasn't even his rally. It was just a generic Second Amendment rally that was being held at the Virginia State Capitol, and he and his goons just decided to show up and take the megaphone for a few minutes.
For a few minutes, indeed.
I got some more dirt about him that came to light publicly. Let me pull this up. But basically, one of his things was that he was living in Ukraine for a while, because obviously, I mean, he even showed up to the rally in cargo shorts, which is like the universal uniform of the sex tourist.
I mean, Matt, I'm going to have to say something that you might be mildly offended with, but I'm going to quote Mersch on this, that it's very rare when an American decides to live abroad for very good reasons. I gotta echo that. How did he put it? He goes, it's very rare when I meet someone who's conquered every mountaintop here in America, and that's why they're moving on.
But continuing, he was actually kicked out of Ukraine for visa problems. He had tried to reach out to someone who had connections, who would be able to get him a new visa. This guy, Kurt Doolittle, was he didn't want to follow the advice because he was just told, oh, go meet with this guy, he'll take care of things. He kept demanding an autistic explanation of all this shit over an unsecure Facebook chat, and then he decided that his best strategy to get a Ukrainian visa was to have his followers spam and harass a tech company in Lviv, the city of Lviv, demanding that they hire him. Shockingly, this tech company was not enthused about hiring someone whose followers had been debasing and defacing and threatening their Facebook page, and the tech company they were pissed off enough that they ensured that Kurt Doolittle was kicked out of the country.
That's some winning strategy right there. Luke, okay, let's watch Kurt Doolittle talk about big black dicks.
Kurt Doolittle in his pants.
I'm trying to find the spot, but you just want to start for here?
I just watched the whole thing. Big Black Dickism by Kurt Doolittle.
That's all. It's mostly, if you look at the biology of it, it's mostly, honestly, you guys are big dicks and stronger.
There it is. Oh no.
Oh god.
You can look at the guy in the background with like the just dismayed look on his face.
Yeah, somebody zoomed in on him once, and it was like, if only he knew how bad things really are.
Oh, there he is.
Again, I'm like, did I really just follow a guy who's talking about big black dicks?
and the BLM guy is like, yeah.
Hey, Kurt Doolittle did win that something. He holds the world speedrunning record for fastest decline from hero to zero in the distant right category. So, round of applause for the world champion.
At least he didn't have to cause a Charlottesville riot.
Oh, jeez.
All right, and you're also more sociable. So you're less prone to these are all things we know. Right? We have the same thing. The difference is to get to where we are, we're all fast.
How about you just tell him, shut up? I'm standing here talking, you're not, okay? Go away. Like, is that maybe an option? Instead of praising his giant dick?
Right? Look here with a bunch of Asian kids. He looks like a fucking wolf. Right? Huh? I can't hear you, bro. Do you mind if we address the crowd?
Oh yeah, let's give Mandingo the mic.
And then they take over, and the BLM people just announce the stuff.
We were here to put an end to the stigma that Black Lives Matter are thugs, that Black Lives Matter just come to loot and destroy communities. We came in here in solidarity.
So we stole someone's mic. Well, in all fairness, he gave it to you. I think it's because he wants to suck your dick. Oh my god.
Only way he could have gotten more humiliating if Doolittle had just dropped Trow and spread him for a reparations ass fucking.
Oh god.
And just remember, you know, to tie this all back to things that you know matter in our little corner of the internet. A certain bald bisexual wannabe cult leader was very enamored of Kurt Doolittle at one point.
I think that's where I heard that name from, actually, because it's a weird name, so it kind of stuck in my head. But I don't remember ever seeing any of his like stuff or anything. But wasn't he interviewed on Davis's show or something?
Yes, he was.
Isn't that interesting?
And they started using his terminology. Well, they did start using his terminology about, you know, first function people or whatever the fuck that means.
Is that where they got the? Was that the Triforce hypothesis or whatever the fuck they were going on about?
Yes, I believe so.
Is that where he got it? Kurt Doolittle, big Legend of Zelda fan. I love how much it pissed him off when I would like purposely get the names of their dumb shit wrong. And like they'd be like, "See, it shows Beckhoff is too stupid to understand." It's like, no, it shows that I'm mocking your dumb shit. You call her a Hadron Collider. That means she's actually really powerful. It's like, no, that means I'm making fun of her dumb made-up name. It's the trifunctional hypothesis. Okay, you have fun with your fucking Triforce. Oh, man. The trifunctional hypothesis. So there's, if I remember correctly, there was the warrior class, the priest class, and the big black dick class, correct?
I've also heard, well, this is a tiny bit tragic. Kurt Doolittle had cancer and he beat it, you know, so good for him. But apparently a side effect of that is that he is impotent.
I was going to ask, was it prostate cancer? Sorry, I don't feel like being mature at all today. Like, fuck him. You're gonna be a joke. I'm gonna laugh at you.
Yeah, well, whatever. I mean,
an impotent guy
makes you wonder what he was.
Shorts who talks about big black dick is gonna lead the right wing revolution against the United States government.
Makes you wonder what the hell he was doing in Ukraine if he couldn't even have sex with all the whores he was buying.
Well, you don't have to get your dick up to bend over for Mandingo. Ah. Oh, man. I read a little bit about propertarianism when I first heard this Kurt Doolittle story, and it's like, oh, okay, so this is just the most autistic possible fucking version of libertarianism.
The guy talked about how he wanted to start a civil war, you know, safely ensconced in a foreign country. I'm trying to think of a funny Civil War pun for this whole kerfuffle. The Battle of Piss Pants.
Oh.
He's Robert E. Leake. That's what his name is. Robert E. Leake.
And then people are like, oh, you don't believe anything. You just want to laugh at stuff. It's like, you know what? At this point, yeah, I do. I just want to laugh at fucking idiots, all right? You know, he's sitting here talking about the Boogaloo while you're pissing your pants and telling some Black Lives Matter guy his dick is really big.
Well, shaming these people just serves an important function to just kind of, you know, maybe there's someone who thought, you know, propertarianism was cool or whatever who will watch this or watch Medicare's video and like snap out of it before their life gets ruined.
Well, that is the thing. A lot of these guys, they waste a lot of people's time. They waste a lot of people's energy. You know, they get to some young kid when, you know, he's 19 or something, he's trying to figure out the world, and, you know, and it's not enough that he look, everybody's, you know, looked into, like, anybody who's politically interested you're going to look into oddball political theories. Maybe you're even kind of into it for a little while, but that's different than following some guy into a goon rally or into a march or into some shit that's going to ruin your life, okay? There's a difference between reading up on different political philosophies, you know. I mean, I make fun of Moldbug for as much of a spurg as he was, but there's a difference between a 19-year-old that read a bunch of Moldbug and eventually grew out of it. You know, it was an interesting stepping stone as he, you know, fucking learned about the world. There's a difference between that and somebody who's given all their contact information to one of these idiots. One of these fucking closet homosexuals who's telling them to go march and get your fucking life ruined. Luke is making yellow Black Lives Matter.
I'm testing out this new little tablet I got.
But yeah, there's a lot of kids that just they follow these pity people and it doesn't go well for them. All right.
Didn't look to me to at least, you know, not that many in this case. Maybe about 10 people showed up specifically to hear Kurt Doolittle speak. Oh, by the way, if you actually watch the full video of him speaking, the dude is autistic as fuck, spurgy as fuck. He has no stage presence, no charisma, and the entire thing just consists of him yelling in a really weird fashion. Like, you can tell this guy has no social interaction outside of the women he pays to, you know, put up with him for an hour or so. Reminds me of this guy I used to know who lived in China and decided to one day he was going to cure irritable bowel syndrome by just eating rice, which nearly ended up killing him. And also came up with an interesting. He was an evangelical, and he came up with an interesting way to, you know, get around the whole prohibition on fornication in the Bible. He was all like, you know, he got that Bible verse about how, you know, I'm quoting from memory here. It's a sin if you have like adultery in your heart. So he was all like, well, that means you can, you know, have premarital sex. Just don't have that intention in your heart.
Well,
wrong.
Just don't have the intention of what. So was he trying to get himself raped? I don't understand. How do you go about having sex without having the intention of having sex?
I think the idea is that you should be having premarital sex. You just shouldn't enjoy it.
Well, that's so it's the Roosh model.
The point I'm making is this guy lived in China for so long, and his only social interaction, by his own admission, was like with girls and his girlfriend. And shockingly, all these Asian girls with like white fever were not going to tell this Guilo that his shit's all retarded. So in this environment, he started developing all kinds of weird fucking ideas. I'm sure Kurt Doolittle was basically on the same path. You know, his background, from what I understand, he's like some tech entrepreneur who got rich and decided to decamp to Ukraine because, of course, that's where every fucking nerd goes when they. It's one of the countries that nerds go to. They think they'll just be getting blowjobs as soon as they get off the plane. Probably doesn't speak a word of Ukrainian or Russian. His only social interaction came from whores. Without like a normal social circle around, like your friends and stuff to kind of keep you in check, which is a very real possibility for some of these people in foreign countries, these expats. You start developing all kinds of really fucking weird ideas. Your brain goes off the reservation, you know, because there's nobody who's capable of checking you, you know, like going back to the example of the guy I knew who lived in China, you know, who came up with that amusingly pharisaical justification for fornication. If he was back home in Tennessee or wherever he lived, I forgot where he came from. You know, his friends, his family, his pastor would all have just laughed at him. But he wasn't getting that social interaction in China, so went off the reservation. Same here with Kurt Doolittle. You know, he lived in a fantasy world of his own construction for the longest time, and tried to step out in reality, and he got a big dose of it right to the face, right on the chin. The money shot of reality.
It's almost like, you know, diving into these fucking rabbit holes just head first. Doesn't exactly do you any good, especially when, you know, you have no one in your life to be like, hey, man, why don't you just go get a job? It's just like... Most of these guys, a lot of what... Get a fucking job, man. That's my advice. If so many of these guys would have been saved from going off the deep end if they had a fucking day job. If they had something, even that alone would just keep them anchored in the real fucking world and dealing with real people.
And his great-grandpa was Thomas Griffin, a great philosopher.
Thomas, would you please go look for a job?
Why?
I mean, I was watching an Arini stream a while back, and I just paused it, and I just lost my shit. And for like 5 minutes, I'm just rambling, like, go get a job, dude. Just go work for some money.
Well, I mean, Arini's an example of someone who managed to pull off this expat mental weirdo isolation while living in his hometown, because he's driven away basically anyone who would, you know, call him on his shit.
Yeah, when you just never leave the fucking apartment, you might as well be in a foreign city. Well, yeah, just go get a job, man. Like, people get sucked into this online shit. And look, I have for a little. You know, I took Gamergate way too fucking seriously when it was going on, okay? And shame on me for that, because look how the fuck that turned out. You know, look at the dumpster fire that was. There's a reason I steered clear of the Comicsgate shit, by the way. There is a reason I had people, like, trying to invite me on stream, like, no, man, I could network you with these people that are big in Comicsgate. And I'm like, I appreciate that you want to invite me. I really do. But I would rather slam my dick in a door than play that game again.
Yeah, Comicsgate turned out to be another dumpster fire.
Oh, what was the worst of it? I haven't been following it.
Oh, everybody's fighting with each other. Everybody's stabbing each other in the back. I mean, look.
No, trust me.
Teddy
Luke, you don't
Spaghetti's
need
a big old joke, but I called it early on when I said everybody threw Teddy Spaghetti under the bus for really no fucking good reason other than, you know, oh, he's kind of too far right. I was like, yeah, this is just Gamergate again.
Yeah, Luke, you don't really need to follow it. Basically, it's the same movie all over again, just with different actors.
Like, I know somebody that's working on a comic book, and I mean, him and his artist buddy, they poured a lot of fucking heart and soul into it. It looks really good, and they supposedly even have, you know, a Japanese manga publisher is interested in maybe taking a look at it and stuff like that. And I've told him before, I said, dude, I would just just steer clear of the Comicsgate fucking label and these people, and just fucking make your shit and put it out there. Like, don't get caught up in this gay shit. Or next thing you know, you got a fucking mundane Matt hanging out with you or something. Like, it's... And some of the people involved in Comicsgate are talented motherfuckers. That Ethan Van Sciver guy that is, like, making that Cyberfrog comic, he's a great artist. He was the artist during much of Jeff Jones' amazing run on Green Lantern throughout the 2000s that turned out to be, in my opinion, the best of that franchise. But... okay, fine, but now he's just some jackass who wants to... And I'm sorry, I'm going to say it, like, there's no reason to crowdfund a fucking comic book. I to this day, I still don't understand why that's necessary. I get crowdfunding
there's no reason to crowdfund any kind of book.
I mean, like, okay, a video game, I get it. A movie, I get it. You know what I mean? But, like, it's a comic book. You know what I mean? You write it, you draw it, you know, you ink it, you fucking color it, you print it. I mean, Eastman and Laird made the fucking Ninja Turtles in their basement on their spare time. Like, there's no reason to throw millions of dollars at a fucking comic book.
Yeah. You do what artists have traditionally done. You work on it when you're not doing other shit. You get off of work, and then you work on your passion.
I've heard a lot of people say, well, it's a great way to get hyped for something, and I guess I can understand that. But me as a consumer, when you're telling me, okay, give me money for this comic book that will come out 4 years from now when you've fucking forgotten all about it, you know, like, no, I'm not doing that. Like, you know, I might pick up Cyberfrog and give it a shot. It doesn't look particularly good, if I'm being honest with you, but yeah, maybe one day I'll give it a shot. Who knows? You know, the guy who created Earthworm Jim recently got the Earthworm Jim rights back, and he was going to do this big hardcover graphic novel of Earthworm Jim, and it looked cool. But he's like, yeah, help me crowdfund it. I'm like, how about no? How about you just do it, and I will buy it when you're done?
Yeah, I don't think Doug Ten Maple is particularly hurting for money.
I mean, I know he got kind of screwed on rights issues, and it's not like he saw all the money from, like, the cartoon and all those games. I get that, but at the same time, dude, you could go to a convention and sign your name on Earthworm Jim sketches for $50 a pop. You know what I mean? I don't think you're hurting for money. I don't think you're fucking starving. Just make the fucking book, and when it comes out, I'll buy it.
Ooh, your first battery of questions. How to find and hire a good, trustworthy artist. Let's just say artist. It could be a musician. It could be a model. It could be a painter. It could be a sculptor. In the world of artists, you are dealing predominantly with lazy losers.
I feel like I should disagree, but I can't think of an argument.
Or are you too lazy to?
Guilty.
What I'm thinking of here is, like, there's just a lot of people who want to get something for nothing. They don't really want to work. You know,
I don't know.
I'm not going to portray any confidences here, but that's what it looks like to me. You'll note that the really successful people, like in terms of you know, what they put out there and what you know, their work ethic, like, they don't demand crowdfunding or grants or whatever. They just do the damn work. You know, Terror House recently put out a book called Masculinity Amidst Madness by Ryan Landry. That was the book that beat Ben Shapiro. Ryan Landry didn't ask for a grant or crowdfunding or some shit like that. He wrote the damn book when he wasn't working. He wrote the damn book when he wasn't, you know, spending time with his family. Bronze Age Pervert, Bronze Age Mindset. He wrote that book in his spare time, and it's a massive bestseller.
I mean, like I said,
a lot of it just comes down to having a work ethic.
I get it for other projects. I get it for a movie. Okay.
Yeah, anything that requires, like, extreme technical skill, or you got to hire people to do stuff.
I get it for a video
yeah, that
game,
makes sense. You got to pay their salaries and shit.
Or like this one board game company, they crowdfunded Mega Man the video game because they were this tiny little company, and they said, look, man, we had to spend a good amount of money just to get the license. You know, do people want this? Can they help us out? And it's like, okay, fine. It was a board game. You know, I understand that there's a lot more to that than a comic book. I love comic books. I really do. Not just superheroes. I love the whole fucking medium of comic books. But part of what makes them great is they are pretty easy and cheap and relatively fast to produce, which means they can be more experimental. They can do crazier shit. They can get away with crazier shit. That's what makes them great, but that also means that, you know, I'm not going to fucking crowdfund it. Write it, draw it, print it.
You have an idea out there for a book or whatever, you know, just start working on it, you know. I don't want to toot my own horn, but because I feel like I talk about myself way too much in this context. But with something like Terror House, you know, I didn't start out when I launched this 2 years ago and be like, give me money so I can publish books. And I did. When I wasn't working or doing other shit, I was editing submissions, I was vetting manuscripts, you know. I did have a silent partner to help some things out, but I didn't demand people give me money for this cool idea. What I did was I invested my own time into showing people this was a cool idea so that they want to support it on their own. And they have, and I'm grateful for those. I'm very grateful for those of the many, many people who are supporting the project by buying the damn books. It didn't occur to me to do some crowdfunding type thing because, you know, that's bullshit. You know, I thought to myself, I should actually demonstrate proof of concept in terms of this being a good idea by actually putting the work out there.
I don't know. There's a lot of, like you said, a lot of people want something for nothing. They don't want to work. And I mean, I get it. Like, nobody wants to work. That's why they have to pay you. Okay? I mean, But I don't know, man. You just do the fucking work. Like, yeah, nobody wants to. You're not alone in that. Okay, you're not like. There's laziness, but then there's that lazy, I don't know, sophistry, the fucking narcissism or something that so many of these guys have, where they think they're special, where they almost think like, yeah, they don't want to work, but then they think they're above. They shouldn't have to work. They're above it. It's like, yeah, nobody wants to work, but you fucking do it. All right.
All right. That's why you have starving artists. And a lot of them are not even that good. Matter of fact, the vast majority of artists suck. I mean, go to any modern day museum or art gallery and it's shit work. Go to any coffee store and look at the idealistic dipshit trying to sell his fucking black and white moody. Ooh, it's black and white, all deep in thinking and philosophy like of a bridge for $200. These people, because of selection, by going into a pool of people.
Well, I'm glad to see he's finally doing something.
Well, it's funny. I mean, I remember like about a year ago, I had this fucking, detractor of who was obsessed with me. This guy who was a clinger on to a certain other bald bisexual lunatic. And this guy, well, I didn't know who he was, so I looked into him deeply, and he was running a GoFundMe, complaining about how he didn't have enough money to live on because he just got fired from his job, and he was writing all this self-pitying stuff about like, in a fair and just world, I'd be able to make a living off my comics. Now, I want to stipulate this guy is like 50 years old. Like, dude, at that stage, if you haven't been able to get like a modicum of success from your comics or whatever you're doing, like in the general principle, you objectively suck at it and you should probably just do something else. Like, it is way too fucking late for you to try and do that grift now. And apparently in his GoFundMe, he didn't even succeed because he was like, apparently he collected a lot of like rare toys and like Transformers from the 80s, and he was auctioning those off on eBay to, pay the rent. I don't want to knock the guy for being in a bad financial situation, but if you're going to go around with that type of ego, it's like, it's not fair that people aren't throwing money at me for my comics. At that age, like, throw the fuck up.
Transformers aren't cheap either. Like, I'm not a huge Transformers fan, but I've never been more than a casual fan of it best, and I don't think I've ever owned any of the figures. But you look at them online, man, they are fucking pricey.
No, I'm sure he's making a mint from selling those on eBay. I'm sure enough for him to afford bus fare in Atlanta.
Yeah, and they go up too. Like the good ones that actually fucking transform and shit. Like those go up in fucking value. They just go nowhere but up.
These people, because of selection bias, you're going into a pool of people who have no business sense, have no hustle, are lazy, and probably come from rich parents, and expect the world to just give them money.
Yeah, the world should give me money so I can buy a bear trail out in the woods, and I can make sure nobody jacks off in it.
Hey, perfect opportunity for Beartopia about that whole joke about bears raping people in the woods. Never heard that one before.
You're not here for the jacking off, are you? Oh lordy, just go fucking. That was my biggest red flag in Comicsgate. Every one of them crowdfunded a fucking. And I'm like, I'm sorry, guys. And everybody's just throwing money at it because so many comic book fans that were desperate for something that wasn't paused and fucking soyed to hell and back. It's like, oh, yes, please make a comic book that, that isn't full of pause and soy. And I'm just like, guys, we don't need to crowdfund comics, okay? So it's like, what's the guy that did Jawbreakers or something? It's just basically poor man's G.I. Joe. You got fucking Battletoads by the Green Lantern artist. You got the Earthworm Jim guy. Like, do you want an Earthworm Jim comic? I'm like, yeah, that sounds like it'd be fun. Okay, well, give me money in 5 years from now. Maybe I'll give you one. No. How about you finish?
And that's like.
How about you let me know when it's done, and maybe I'll buy it.
Yeah, and that's the other thing too. Like a lot of people have been burned by crowdfunding just one too many times. There's a certain individual here who I'm not going to name or really talk that specifically about because her husband vaguely threatened me with a libel suit, even though all this information is public. This person took something upwards of like 50 G's to make a comic book, and all that money vanished. The suspicion is that since she had no other income, that she blew it all on fancy vacations and stuff, and was just generally completely slipshod with it. Many such cases, you know. So
I routinely praise God in heaven that I was too fucking broke and down on my luck to have donated to the Mighty Number 9 Kickstarter, because I would have thrown gobs of money at that at the time if I'd have had it. I would have been like, yes, fucking dollar store Mega Man, make it happen. I would have thrown fucking money at that if I could have. But I wasn't in a particularly good spot, and I mean, I wasn't starving or nothing, but I didn't have that much money to throw around.
Or there's another example I can think of. Someone in my general literary circle. Again, I'm not going to name this person because I don't have a grudge against them or dislike them. This person was begging for money on GoFundMe so that they can go move to another state and stuff, and people gave money, and this person was subsequently on Twitter bragging about all the artisanal craft beers that they bought. And then a few weeks later, they were all like, I don't have enough. If I buy dinner, that'll cost me 10% of my remaining money. And I'm having panic attacks in parking lots because I'm going to be broke soon. And it's like, okay, where'd the money go?
I mean, get a fucking job. Like, do you know how many times dinner has cost me 10% of the money I had in the fucking bank? Like, I mean, there's been times I've not had 2 fucking nickels to rub together. You know, you do what and I've had help from friends and family throughout the years, and you know, people have helped me, and I'm grateful for it. You know, it's not something you don't ever take that kind of shit for granted, but I don't know, man. Just go get a fucking job, like,
or just be like fucking better with your money. I mean, I haven't been in the greatest financial straits in the past few months because coronavirus cost me a really lucrative gig, but I'm still here. You know, I'm not broke by any means. I'm still making money. I'm not as rich as I was, but I've been able to, you know, keep going because I don't spend money on frivolous shit. I live a pretty boring, austere life. Like, literally, this is my life right now, at least until I get the fuck out of Albania. I get up, I do work, I do Terror House work, I take a shower, I vape a lot, and I go out and I eat dinner. And that's pretty much it. You know, I don't spend money on shit I don't need. I don't really want for a whole lot. I could use a new mic, but I'm not going to fucking buy that here. You see all these people with fucking spendthrift habits, you know. I can't live without my $12 avocado sandwich or whatever. Like, yes, you can. Okay, you're fucking poor. Okay, eat ramen and peanut butter until you get over the hump. We've all been there. Trust me. I know it sucks. I feel for you. Make the sacrifice until you're in a better financial position.
I lived off of those fucking Kraft Easy Macs for a couple of months once. It was little like 89-cent fucking single serve.
Those are damn good.
They're not bad. They're better than ramen, I'll give you that, and they're basically the same price point. Like, I remember trying ramen, I'm like, this is crap. I'm gonna blow my brains out after a month of this. And I tried the Easy Mac, and I'm like, okay, this is actually, it's not good for me, but it is all I'm eating in a day, so this is fine.
Well, there's all kinds of ghetto ways to kind of stretch your money, you know, when you
if you have a decent spice rack, if you just get a couple of fucking McCormick fucking spice things at the grocery store, you can make a lot of shitty ghetto food pretty damn good.
A friend of mine actually had a recipe for using ramen to make pad thai.
Like, I used to spice up crappy shit like Easy Macs and tomato soup and stuff like that.
No, I mean, I had to come up with a lot of creative shit when I was under lockdown. It wasn't due to financial issues. It was just because here in Albania, you know, for a lot of the time, I could not leave the house without a permit, and you can only get a permit once a week. So, and the permit was valid for an hour. So that was enough time to run to the grocery store, shove everything I could into the basket, and just run back. Lived off a lot of fucking, good old Italian recipes and shit, ghetto stuff. But like I would come back and I'd inevitably forget shit. Like, oh, I forgot the pesto. Oh, I forgot the sauce. So guess we're just having plain macaroni tonight with a sausage. Didn't mind, I minded it in the sense that I didn't like basically being under house arrest, but I put up with it.
Somebody in the chat real quick says, is Mega Man 11 any good? I'm playing Network Transmission. 11's pretty good. Yeah, I enjoyed it. Bounce Man stage can eat my ass. But other than that, I thought it was pretty fun. But yeah, man, I don't know what to tell you. Like, do what you gotta do, and that's also why it pays to have fucking, be on good terms with your family or have actual friends that have you back when you're down on your luck,
Oh yeah, yeah. I've had friends. I've had friends spot me money. I pay them back.
I remember when the first Thor movie came out, and my buddy, because I'm the big comic book fan, he's like, "You want to go see Thor with me?" And I'm like, "Oh man, I'd love to, but I ain't got no fucking money this week." Like I was out of work for a little while, and I just started a job, so like my bills were taken care of, and I had money coming in, but like I had like nothing in the bank account for like a week. You know what I mean? Something like $20 to stretch me a week, and I was like, well, that's just for food this week. And he's like, oh no, it's fine, man, it's fine. I'll spot you on that. I'm like, well, thanks, man, I appreciate that, but and literally, he bought me a movie ticket just because he wanted to hang out with me. Like.
That's a friend right there.
Pays to have people in your life.
That's the thing. That's like a running theme I see among like these grifters, particularly as they get older and people wise up to them and they just start burning all their friends and family. They eventually end up in that position because there's nobody who's going to put up with their shit. I mean, women can get a long way with it for longer because if they get the pretty, they got the pussy power, etc. But eventually, even they hit a brick wall in terms of who they can scam.
It's not a good place to be in. If you're someone our age, you're in your 30s or older even, and you look around and you realize you don't have any long-term friends, like you don't have any friendships that have lasted years, if not even decades.
You absolutely should not trust anyone who hasn't had at least one friend for at least 5 years.
I would agree with that. That's not someone to put a lot of trust in. That's something that dawned on me recently too. When I was, it was when I was shitting on Davis and, one of these streams, and I was talking about how most of the people that were former friends of his, hate him, and I'm like, Davis, I can't think of anybody that, former friend of mine that fucking won't talk to me now except you. Like, I mean, my three best friends I've known for, at this point, 2013 and 9 years respectively.
Yeah, my best friend is a guy I've known for a decade, and another guy I've known for about 6, 7, 8 years.
I mean, like I said, I know people end up in bad positions or they move around or something. I get that, but like, it's just something that makes me a little suspicious of you. If you don't have no fucking friends longer than 5 years. If everyone who's known you longer than that can't stand you. If you've been thrown out of 109 friendships. Kind of makes me a little suspicious.
Intense.
But honestly, no one would ever be thrown out of 109 things and not think it's their fault.
Nah, trust me, there are a lot of self-delusional people in this world.
I don't get it, man. If anything, I'm probably like, I could lie awake late at night and be way too fucking hard on myself, Every once in a while, when you're trying to get to sleep and your brain's like, remember that cringy thing you did 14 years ago?
Oh yeah, yeah.
I guess
mean,
there's just people that don't have that. You almost got to envy them. Almost.
Yeah, I mean, I'm in that. I made a joke about a year ago. The greatest thing about entering your 30s is how your default thought process changes from like all the wonderful possibilities you have for your life to just darkly brooding about how you're a piece of shit who wasted your youth. It's a bit extreme, yeah, but trust me, I'm in my 30s now, and yeah, it's not looking good. Well, I mean, I've done a lot of things, and I'm mostly happy with where I am in life. But you're in that mode of thought where you start thinking you could have done shit differently. You might be in a better position.
No, it was everyone else's fault. I
Yeah.
didn't do nothing.
Actually,
I was a good boy. Didn't do nothing.
Actually, it kind of goes back. I think, we did discuss this on the show a long time ago. This was about a year and a half ago. It was the show that had Pastor Tom Bryden and Common Phil, and then later Jay Dyer, where Common Phil said, by the time you hit your 30s, you're on a path, whether it's a path you've chosen or it's something that has basically happened to you. There's not really much you can do about it. And Bryden had a point like, I put all my XP points into being funny, and this is where I'm at.
I mean, I'm not quite as gloom and doom about that because I've seen people turn their lives around very late in life, even for the better and for the worse. But yeah, you are kind of on rails once you're on your 30s.
Well, yeah, there are some.
Then.
Well, there are some inspiring stories like that. Like, Bryden was doing a stream yesterday. He was doing some of the Wood Rocket videos, but he also did a video of some show like Love Don't Judge, which was about like a 46-year-old ex-felon who was married like a 21-year-old girl. And this guy had been like arrested like 150 times and had done like 11 years in prison. But like after the last one, he decided like, look, I can't go on like this. I'm going to end up dying in a cell. So he got sober, he got clean, he started volunteering and shit, and basically, made a nice recovery. And no homo, he looks pretty damn good for a 46-year-old. I would have pegged him for 35. And he got the ultimate prize. He got to marry a reasonably good-looking chick who was 21. So that's a real Dudes Rock 2020 success story.
Well, I mean, the whole of the church, you see tons of people turning their lives around and kind of late in the game. It's not some. Oh, by the way, Bryden's stream yesterday was great. I caught bits and pieces of it because I was doing other shit, and I haven't been able to find like the replay of it because D-Live's.
I don't think. I think he didn't save the replay on that one because it was like had porn shit.
But dude, him going over. We did the Wood Rocket video on here a while ago, and Wood Rocket is that's something everybody needs to see. Wood Rocket at least once, and yeah, like you said, like, oh my God, there's so much poop.
Yeah, I was talking with him about that.
Like I did accidents, not just with poop, but like pissing themselves and period blood and shit that goes. Like, look, I've been up to some escapades in
the sponges.
But I can honestly say like nothing remotely that disgusting ever happened. And I mean,
and the sponges. Don't forget the sponges.
Left them up there, and oh God. It's honestly that's what really, Spurge's going on about the nofap and all, and after a while they start to sound like Owen Benjamin talking about jacking off in the woods. Like, honestly, you want to like demystify porn, you want to like break somebody of a porn addiction, you show them fucking Wood Rocket. Like, you show them. That's part of like, yeah, it was funny and we liked it for that, but part of why I was like, we should all sit down and watch this is because like. It's easy to look at a porn video and you see two hot people having amazing sex and the lighting's all great and all this other stuff, but then you realize like both of those people have had poop in their face as a result of this business.
Well, you know how that whole conversation with me, Brian, got started. Did you see this recent shit with Mia Khalifa?
No, what happened?
She's been, everyone knows she's been running around talking about how the porn industry exploited her and, she only made this much money. And then Bang Bros went and posted receipts.
Yeah.
Like they literally refuted all the shit they've been saying. Like she claims like I only made $12,000 from being in porn for 3 months, and they're like, and they said we paid her like $178,000 alone. We don't know what she made from the other porn producers she worked with, but we paid her uplands of 200 G's. And she was like, oh, they forced me to do things I didn't want to do. And she was like, no. She had control over everything that she did, and they actually posted a video of her talking about how excited she was to have creative control with her new Bang Bros contract.
Hey, Forney, you know what having to do things you don't really want to do is called? It's called
life.
Having a job. Like, do you think I go into the box factory and I'm just really amped to make fucking boxes? No, I go in there and I fucking shut up and make boxes because they're paying me to shut up and make boxes, okay? And if you're getting paid to fucking take a dick in your butt, you shut up and take a dick in your butt. Okay, how about that? Like, nobody made you take this job. It wasn't assigned to you like this is the fucking giver. All right? You chose this fucking job, so shut up and do your job. How about that?
By the way, Luke, I just sent you the URL of the website I'm talking about. There's no porn on it. Like, it's totally work safe. But basically, Mia Khalifa just got totally ethered. My favorite part was when they talked about, like, how she basically stole the trademark on the name Mia Khalifa.
You know what else struck me with those Porn Rocket videos? Some of those chicks were good looking. A lot of them, though, were pretty fucking busted. And not because, like, it was some old porn star that's been doing it too long. You know what I mean? Like, but, like, relatively new girls. And I'm like, aren't porn stars supposed to be fucking hot? Like, I know there's some that aren't, like, drop-dead gorgeous. At least back when I was looking at porn a lot. You know, some of the MILFs, yeah, they're a little older and it kind of shows. And some of the girls are more of a dorky girl next door kind of look. But all of them were still like, yeah, I'd fuck that. You know what I mean? But you watch these Wood Rocket videos and you see these chicks and you're like, there's, out of like the 20 chicks in this video, there's maybe 2 you'd fuck.
Oh, there's a perfect example. This, Bryden streamed the video of the Wood Rocket video of like, what happens when your family finds out about your porn? And this like Mexican chick that's on screen right now, one of the huge chosen knows, I'll put it like that. She's talking about like a strict Catholic family, strict Mexican Catholic family. She's like, so eventually someday they'll realize what I'm doing is empowering and uplifting, and they'll respect me for my life choices. I decided to go look her up, for research purposes only. All of her videos are like really disgusting, degrading anal sex videos.
Oh yeah, because she's all fucking busted and like she's not gonna be able to do just regular fucking videos. Like you're gonna have to do the fucking really heinous.
Yeah, I don't think there's many dudes who are basically looking for I don't think Happy Merchant meme is a popular fetish.
Yeah, busted Mexican chick I could easily pick up at a bar is not a popular search on Pornhub, I would imagine. Like this one's not bad. Of course, I'm kind of partial to redheads, but like a lot of them, like this one's like meh. Like most of the best ones in these videos are like meh.
Like kind of like average girl. You wouldn't really think too much about her.
But some of them in these Wood Rocket videos are just like, oh my god. What is the one Bryden was like, what's Dr. Frankfurter doing over here?
Well, the other thing is this, to kind of cycle back to the Mia Khalifa thing. Like, if Mia Khalifa was really serious about, like, wanting to get away from her porn past, she would not be using her porn name. Exactly. The only reason she's using her porn name is because it's the only reason people know who the fuck she is.
That drives me nuts. Like, when she was on that morning DJ, a radio show, and the guy, and she wants to be like a hockey announcer now, right? And the guy asked her about her porn past, and she flipped out. He's like, it was only 3 months. Why do people keep bringing it up? It's like, sweetie, because that's the reason you're here. Okay?
That's why people know who you are. And the thing is, there are plenty of porn stars who, you know, retire from the industry. They have families. They get real careers and stuff. And you don't hear about that because they stop using their porn names.
You know what, Mia Khalifa, you might be the best hockey announcer in the world. And maybe you can get to a point where you are better known for being a hockey announcer than for sucking dick while wearing a hijab. That may be a place you could get to at some point. But I got news for you, sweetie. You got to earn it.
Yeah. You can start by not using your porn name. To give an example, there was a way back in my Coomer days, there was a popular porn star named Daphne Rosen.
I am familiar with Daphne Rosen.
Yes. She dropped off the map in like 2012. Like her whole thing was like she was kind of like this weird bass porn star who was like a big supporter of Ron Paul. But she dropped off the map in 2012. And she was like, oh, what happened to Daphne Rosen? Well, here's what happened to Daphne Rosen. She went back to school. She got a career doing, I forgot what. She got married to a black guy, I might add, and had a couple of kids. And nobody knows about it because she's completely disappeared from the scene, which is what you're supposed to do. You know, I don't think she gets accosted for her porn past and her professional career because she's not going around calling herself Daphne Rosen anymore. Like that's what happens.
Remember, like,
you know?
Aurora Snow was all like, "Oh, I want to put my porn past behind me." That's why I'm writing for the Daily Beast under the name Aurora Snow. I gotta be honest, Daphne Rosen, not the hottest chick in the world by any stretch, but goddamn, I just big titty MILF Amazon. I'd have gotten all over that.
She was well proportioned, you know. I mean, her boobs are technically enhanced, but she's probably got the best boob job in the universe because you can't tell immediately.
I remember in the mid 2000s, a buddy of mine where we had gone to some Comic-Con out in New Jersey and we're eating at like a Denny's or some shitty place afterwards. And our waitress looked exactly like Daphne Rosen. And it was, you know, it might have been around 2012 because I think it was actually after she kind of like vanished, right? It might have been like around 2012. And I just remember like saying to my buddy, I'm like, you ever hear of a porn star? And he goes, yes, she does. Like, she does look like her. And like, it looks so... Like, he didn't even know the name of her, but he was like, yes, that looks like a porn star I've seen before. And I'm like, you think? Like, it looks so much like it. We kind of weren't 100% sure it wasn't her kind of situation. And then it's like, but like, they filmed porn out in like California. Why would she be fucking working at Denny's? Is she a method actress and she's getting ready for her next role? Like, but it looks so much like her. It was unreal.
A threesome with a puppet with Tommy Pistol. Are you ready?
Yeah.
What the fuck?
Yeah, I think I am ready.
I'm ready too. I'm also in.
What was the movie? It was like a year or two ago, where it was like the premise of it was like Roger Rabbit, but instead of cartoons, it was Muppets, and it was an R-rated comedy. It had the fat chick from the Ghostbusters reboot on it, but it actually looked pretty fucking funny.
Oh, well, I forgot its name already.
I kind of wanted to see that, but it's like I wasn't sold enough just because of the main actress. I wasn't sold enough to want to see it in the theaters, but I wouldn't mind watching that at some point.
Oh yeah, the Happy Time Murders.
That's what it was. I honestly think that looked fucking funny. Like, it might have been a piece of shit. I don't know, but the premise is pretty fucking funny.
Suck your for 50 cents. I'll suck your dick.
Well, it's a great price. It almost makes me wish I had a dick for you to suck.
See, I want to. Part of me wants to hate it just because I don't like that actress. Just because, and not even. I mean, she's probably a piece of shit. Everybody in Hollywood is, but she's just been in so many shitty things that I just associate her with those things. But like, that's fucking funny. I'm sorry.
Well, take that as a yes.
2018. Yeah, it was literally 2 years ago. I wouldn't mind checking that out. Yeah, people in the chat are saying Happy Time Murders. Yep. I might see if that's on one of the streaming services I got now. Oh, I finally got rid of the cable, Matt. I finally talked my boomer dad into getting rid of the cable. It wasn't easy.
Finally cut the cord, eh?
Well, we'd actually switched to satellite for a while, but basically same thing. Like when I was a kid, satellite was the prestige thing. It was like the thing that had a bajillion channels where cable had like 30. But these days, there's really no difference other than you can't watch TV in the rain. You have satellite. But yeah, finally talking
for me,
about
like,
the streaming
it's-
services and all.
For me, like satellite TV was like, if you lived in a rural area that didn't have cable connections. Like my parents didn't have, like my parents had cable because we lived in the city, but like, like my extended family lived in a small town, they had satellite because it's funny, like apparently the cable company decided to lay cable across every fucking road in their part of the county except their road. So satellite it is.
Well, back in the 90s, like cable, you'd get like 30 to 40 channels. But like on satellite, you had hundreds of channels. So like satellite was the rich people cable back in the 90s. Right? Once like digital cable came around, I guess that wasn't true anymore. But yeah, finally talking to him. He still wants to watch like shit on Fox News and stuff, but there's like Fox News streaming things where you can watch like clips of it and all. He still watches The Five. I can't get him to stop watching. Like the only thing on Fox News worth watching is Hannity. Let's be real. Which speaking of Fox News, I just saw a Fox News alert earlier.
Wait, Hannity, not Tucker?
Tucker is what I meant to say. I'm sorry. I meant to say Tucker. But no, I just saw Roger Stone got his sentence communed right before I went out live, so that's good news. But yeah, Tucker's the only thing on Fox News worth watching. But my dad gets sucked into like, how boomers are. He gets sucked into like watching The Five, and like that Juan Williams guy, I hate that guy, and it's like, yeah, you're supposed to. Like he's fucking. You understand? Like he's the token liberal they all dunk on. Okay, like that's literally his job. He's in wrestling terms, he's the jobber. Okay, you're supposed to.
He's the
hate him.
heel.
Yeah, he's the heel. Okay, he comes out there. He's like, I must be in Coreyville because all I see is a bunch of hicks. Like boo, boo, evil wrestling. Like it's like you're just getting sucked into that. Like you this is all fucking staged. It's all just fucking. It's fucking wrestling for slightly smarter people, all right? Like, remember Hannity and Combs back in the day? It's like, that's... So we got a debate show, and we got Hannity, who's this big fucking paper alpha bully, and we got Combs, who's afraid to say anything, because that's fair and balanced. just an hour of Hannity saying, you're late for your swirly, nerd.
I liked Alan Combs. He was a funny dude.
He was a decent, he was a nice guy, but it's like personality wise, he was just constantly getting fucking railroaded by Hannity, because Hannity was this big fucking swinging dick pseudo alpha motherfucker, and Combs was trying to be like, well, I just want to have a polite conversation.
Well, like Hannity was like a born for TV guy because he is or was at least photogenic and came across well on camera. Whereas Combs was a radio guy. He started working at stations like WABC, doing the morning drive, etc. So he's good on radio. He had a really good radio show, syndicated radio show that I liked to listen to when I was in college. But he hasn't come across well on TV.
But yeah, I'm sitting here like, come on, man, the five. Oh, they're gonna get that Juan Williams guy again. It's like you're basically me when I was 6 watching the Ninja Turtles. Like, oh, that Shredder. Yeah, they're gonna stop him. Don't worry. It's just
surely this time Rita Repulsa is going to go down.
Oh no, she's got the Rangers on the ropes this time. Don't worry, they'll figure it out.
Oh no, will she throw her wand to the earth and make her Goldar grow?
Is she gonna make the monster big? I think she's gonna make the monster big.
Yeah, Alan Combs is really more of a radio guy. I mean, his radio show was hilarious because like all his callers were right wing, and that was like the perfect environment for him to just kind of spar with him. Like I remember one show where like his wife had appeared on Hannity and Combs earlier. And he had a pretty hot wife, like damn. And some caller called and was like, "Oh, your wife is so beautiful. You know, she's so hot and all this stuff." And Combs was just like, "Oh, so you're in love with my wife?" And the caller was just like tongue tied.
You know what? One of the worst shows on Fox News back in the day, and I mean, this is during the W, really big neocon days and all. You know, hell, even late '90s. You know, the latter days of the Clinton days. There was a show called Beltway Boys, and it had Fred Barnes and God, I can't remember the other guy, but you got Fred Barnes, this hardcore fucking neocon. You know, the most neocon of neocons, right? You know, just fucking. I think he was even also like a hardcore evangelical. And then you had this like slightly left of center moderate debating him, and they were just like talking about shit from the week. It would air on Saturdays. I used to watch it because, first of all, it was fascinatingly bad, but I also liked a show called Fox News Watch that came on after it, where they actually talked about like the media itself and like, you know, biases in the media and how the media is doing its job of being the media, and it was kind of a fascinating show. For a politics nerd like me, but Beltway Boys was... God, Fred Barnes is a piece of shit. Is he still alive? He was one of the guys that did the that magazine with Bill Kristol. Him and Bill Kristol founded... What was that magazine called? Weekly Standard?
The one that went out of business?
Yeah, thankfully, yes. But like, he
Fred
makes
Barnes
Bill Kristol look slightly less of a neocon.
Fred Barnes is still alive.
Fred Barnes always sat there with his arms like tightly crossed when the other person was talking. You know, remember the puppet that what was the comedian that had all the puppets? Fuck, I'm blanking on his name. But he had like the old man puppet called Walter. Like Fred Barnes always sat like Walter.
Jeff Dunham.
Jeff Dunham, thank you. Fred Barnes always sat like Walter. Like just arms tightly crossed, just angry look on his face when the other person's talking.
Even the picture on his Wikipedia page, he's got like this grimace on his face, like he's holding in a really painful shit.
Here he is.
You know, crap. Yeah, always sat like that, just angry, just fucking sitting there like Walter, like you're supposed to be somewhat polite to your co-host when they're making their point, and he's just sitting there with his arms crossed, like this fucking asshole. Oh man.
Here it click upload. Here we go.
Exactly. He just always sat like that. Like I don't think I've ever seen him without his arms crossed. It was the one I was thinking of that died. The one that died. That's why I kind of thought maybe Fred Barnes died. Was the one in the wheelchair a couple years ago. Krauthammer. He was a piece of shit too. Fucking scumbag neocon. And then once he died, everyone's like, "Oh, he was so nice." Guy was so fucking uptight. I literally didn't even know he was in a wheelchair for the longest time. I thought he just sat like that. I thought he just naturally had a stick up his ass. What is Combs still doing anything, or is he just completely retired?
Alan Combs?
Yeah.
He's dead.
When did he die?
A couple years back.
Huh. I honestly don't remember hearing it. I mean, I probably even covered it on the show, but I really don't remember it.
Oh, yeah. Alan Combs died February 23rd, 2017.
Yeah, I probably even talked about it on here, and I don't fucking remember.
Yeah, poor guy had lymphoma.
I always, even though I agreed with Hannity more, I always liked him on a personal level more than Hannity. I always felt like I'd rather hang out with Combs.
Well, like I said, he was he made his bones as a radio guy. Being a radio host is a lot more intensive than being a talk show host, or a TV anchor, because TV is a very scripted medium. The commercial breaks, etc. All the pancake makeup. It's all about presentation. Whereas in order to succeed in radio, you have to have an actual personality. You have to actually engage people.
Yeah.
With your arguments and your stories and such.
Hannity's
Coleman was always much better than that at Hannity.
Oh yeah, Hannity's radio show is ass. Like, it's usually just ripping off whatever the fuck Rush said earlier that afternoon. Like, Hannity goes live 3 to 6 Eastern. Like, your whatever local station you might have might play it at a different time, might play it a little later. But he's live 3 to 6 Eastern, and he literally just... I swear he must just sit by the fucking radio listening to Rush, just, like, taking notes, because he just regurgitates half of what fucking Rush said, but with way less personality.
Yeah, the thing with Combs is, Combs is a guy who actually enjoyed debating people. He stated that his reason for, going to Fox News when he could have easily gone to someplace like MSNBC that would have been more liberal friendly. He was like, I just like debating people. I like being able to prove people wrong. And he was pretty good at it too. He was a pretty honest, straightforward guy. I mean, that's all he fucking did on his show was fucking debating, right wing callers. It was hilarious to listen to.
Somebody in the chat just said, years in the future. Beckloff says, what's Arini up to? 40 says, he died. Beckloff says, yeah, didn't hear about it. 40 says, happened a couple years ago. Yeah, one day I'll be on a stream one time with 40 like, hey, let's look up a recent Davis stream. Like, oh, he's dead. What? When did that happen? Like 6 years ago.
Died of acute peritonitis of the colon.
Oh.
Just like the Enigma guy.
Died because his liver was so black. Kim Kardashian tried to fuck it.
Went out like Mr. Hands.
But, yeah, on a personal level, I always kind of hated Hanny. He was always kind of an asshole, like, and that really fake bullshit, pseudo alpha shit.
And the fucking glad handing, like how people oh, you're a great American, and he'd be like, yeah, you're a great American too.
By the way, when you if you were to
which he stole that too, he stole that from Bill Cunningham.
If you ever called into his radio show, which I did once, there was one day it was during the 2012 thing, and I was calling into radio shows and shit because I was in between jobs at the time and was bored. First of all, everybody that calls into a radio show is probably unemployed, because how else do you have 3 hours to sit on hold to yell at a stranger? But you got to listen to all of Hannity's shitty country music that he likes. Hannity loves all that shitty country music, really just shitty stuff. You know what I mean? And you don't listen to local commercials when you're on hold. You listen to the show, and then you listen to this placeholder music he's playing when you're sitting there waiting for the commercial stand. And it's just the shittiest fucking Toby Keith style country music. Oh. But it's you sit on hold for an hour and a half and you talk to somebody for 3 seconds and then hang up on you. Nobody has time to do that if they have a job.
I think the industry has a term. The term for that in the industry is chronics. Basically, people who just call talk radio shows all day. Phil Hendry's entire show was about making fun of those people.
I only did that a couple of times because, again, it's just you've got to sit on hold fucking forever. And I couldn't get through Rush. I tried a couple of days in a row to get through Rush's show, but the volume that he must have is just unreal.
Yeah, I mean, the whole lie of the talk radio industry is that it's all about open debate and shit. When Phil Hendry's entire show was about lampooning that whole thing. Basically, it operated. Phil Hendry, right?
I've heard of him. Yeah.
Yeah, his whole shtick was that he would interview guests that were doing or saying outrageous shit, but the guests were, not real. Hendry did the voices himself by talking into a telephone, but the callers didn't know that it was fake. So they call in, they get outraged. Hendry would put on his fake voice and yell at them, and then he'd put on his real voice and try to play good cop. It was fucking hilarious. And the reason his show worked was because it operated on the premise that most talk radio callers are chronics, people who don't really have anything else going on in their lives. They just call talk radio shows because they're outraged or they're bored or whatever. People who don't fact check. People who have nothing better to do.
I'm not kidding. That has to be the case. When I discovered how utterly time consuming for such little reward it is to call into a talk radio show, it's nobody that has shit going on could do that. Like, even on a day off, if I could be like, well, I guess I could call into a talk radio show, I'm not gonna do it. I ain't got time for that.
Yeah. I mean, Henry was the absolute master of this, which is kind of not tragic. Fuck him. He's an asshole. No, he's always been like a real narcissist because the thing is with Henry's shows, like, it was never super popular, but it was nationally syndicated. He had like a pretty big cult following. But the guy just outright hated his fans. He had like this revolving cast of characters, fake characters on his show, and people would like make little fan made shit and, meet him at like autograph signings and stuff. And he would like throw that stuff in the garbage. He bragged about how he threw fan mail in the garbage.
What an asshole.
Yeah, well, it gets worse. In 2006, he decided to quit his radio show because he, at the tender age of 56, he thought he was going to break into Hollywood. A year later, he was back on the air on a shittier syndicator talk radio network because, as it turns out, there isn't a whole lot of demand for 56-year-old white males in Hollywood. He tried doing like a straight talk show initially, which is fucking hilarious because of his utter contempt for talk radio callers and the fact that he's a liberal. He immediately brought back the voices, like the fake interviews, like a few days into his new show, and then he spent the next 5 years when he was in syndication just whining about everything, whining about his syndicator, whining about his fans, whining about how the entire world was just out to get him, and he's a genius, but no one will give the proper support to his show, etc. He eventually just left, and I think he does a podcast now. But if you go to like his Twitter feed, like it is literally just 24/7 Trump derangement syndrome. Like that's all he fucking talks about, just screeching about Trump.
Honestly, all the whining about how nobody gives him enough credit and all that kind of shit. That honestly sounds like Michael Savage's show. Only Michael Savage is at least interesting.
Savage is not like an outright narcissist. Like, Savage at least like appreciates his fans and stuff, whereas Henry just
Savage gets up on those pity parties way too much. Like, oh, they don't let me on Fox News. And all this. It's like, well, I mean, part of that, Savage, is because you have open contempt for everyone that's on Fox News. Like, you have a cute little pet name for every fucking host on that channel. So, yeah, I probably don't want you on. I mean, it is kind of fucked up that Savage is usually like the number 2 talk radio host in the country after Rush, and nobody in the mainstream right fucking acknowledges him. But at the same time, it's like, you're also a dick to all those people, Savage. So that's kind of why.
Yeah, I mean, though Savage, to his credit, like is he still on the air? I mean, I know they bumped him for Ben Shapiro, but I think he's still doing a radio show.
Yeah, he's still doing his show. It's just, a lot of markets. He was replaced with Ben Shapiro because we know Ben Shapiro is a ratings fucking giant.
Well, I think it's impressive that he's just on the air at his age. He's got to be like pushing 80 at this point.
And he has the most interesting show. Like, the thing about it is, it's like, I don't agree with Savage all that often. There's a lot of times I flat out disagree with him, but I can't really predict every fucking time what he's going to say. You know what I mean? It's like a guy like Rush, it's like everything he's going to say about everything that comes up. You know what I mean? Same with Hannity. Every fucking... Like, there's a local guy called Ken Matthews that my boomer dad just loves. He's like, oh yeah, there's Ken Matthews guy. And it's like, and every once in a while, if I was in the car with him, I'd argue with him because like, I wanted to listen to Savage 3 to 6. He wanted to listen to that, And it's like... He's like, why don't you like this Ken Matthews guy? And it's like, because I could tell you everything he's going to fucking say before he says it. Like, I've listened to enough. I don't need to listen to basic bitch, like, local guy here who's hoping, who sometimes gets the sub for Rush. I don't need to listen to that. You know? Like,
Yeah.
I know everything he's going to say before he says it.
Yeah, like Savage is compelling, like as a person, because like he has, like you said, he's unpredictable, and because he has like life experience beyond doing radio. Like my favorite, things he's done, like don't even really relate to politics. When he's talking about like growing up in New York City, or his biological studies and the South Pacific, stuff like that. That was what kind of attracted me to him. Because he didn't just talk about wail on about politics all the time. He had like all these interesting personal stories, and he talked about literature and music and stuff.
I mean, there was times
there was like one
Savage,
show,
and I'd be like,
I mean, there was
this fucking asshole, fuck him. But it was at least interesting. It was at least something I'm not hearing everywhere else,
I think there was one episode where he just like was blasting Rammstein constantly. He was like, I just go around at night in my neighborhood just blasting Rammstein out the windows. Like that's just fucking hilarious to me. You got this fucking like 7-year-old Jew, driving around in San Francisco just blaring German death metal.
But yeah, again, even when I was like, no, fuck this guy and fuck everything he's saying, it at least was something interesting and challenging. It's like, I don't want to listen to fucking Sean Hannity just give me Republican talking points. I don't want to listen. I certainly don't want to listen to Ben Shapiro. I don't want to listen to. Half the time I don't even want to listen to Rush. Like if I'm in the car, I have to be in the car basically to want to listen to talk radio because what else do you fucking have in a car? But if I'm driving around and it's noon to 3, maybe I'll listen to Rush. But like, I'm not gonna fucking listen to Savage, or I'm not gonna fucking listen to Hannity. I'm not gonna fucking listen to Shapiro. And I don't know. There's sort of a like sports ball mentality with sport or with politics, where most people, they don't want to hear something challenging. They don't want to hear something. They want to hear somebody say in better words than they can exactly what they already fucking believe.
Yeah, it's supposed to be entertainment. I mean, too, as repetitive as Rush can get it, like he always grasped that, like it was just entertainment. He never got like super involved politically, like Hannity did, or some of these other guys. Like Hannity was always like the Stop Obama Express, the Stop Hillary Express, and stuff like this. It was just so you can sense the falseness from the other side of the radio.
Well, I love how Hannity's a fucking, Hannity agreeing with Trump on stuff that it's like, you didn't think this way years ago. Like, look, Tucker used to be a big old neocon. All right, Tucker was a fucking neocon and a half. Back in his bow tie wearing days. But he's not that anymore. And he's acknowledged, I was wrong. Hannity now, if Trump talks about we need to move our troops out, Hannity will be like, yes, Daddy Trump. Whereas a couple of years ago, let's say during the Bush years, Hannity was like, we need to have troops in every country all the time forever. Hannity shifted a little bit away from the neocon stuff, I think just because his audience did. And he goes where the fuck his audience goes. It's completely fake.
Transparent and cynical.
When I listen to Sean Hannity, even when I'm agreeing with him, and I don't listen to him that often these days, but I feel like, you ever play like a video game where the one NPC betrays you? And you're doing a second playthrough and you're just looking at the motherfucker as he's being nice to you, like, I know what you're gonna do. You know what I mean? It's like, yeah, Hannity, I know what you are. Okay, you fucking empty motherfucker.
Yeah, it's like the beginning of the first chapter of Max Payne 2, where the cleaner lets you in, and you have the option to just shoot him in the head right there because he's going to spring a trap on you. Hypothetically, in Minecraft.
Yeah. Now, I will say though, the one I hate the most, and I've hated him since day one, I've hated him long before it was cool, is Glenn fucking Beck. Glenn Beck is bad, and he should feel bad. And I hope all the bad things in life happen to him And that's the most I could say and still be in YouTube's terms of services.
At the moment.
Yeah, fuck Glenn Beck. Fuck everything about Glenn Beck. And fuck every dumb boomer evangelical that still falls for his shit.
Wait, is that what he looks like now? God,
He looks like fucking
shit.
he is aging badly. He is not aging well. The fucker looks like Colonel Sanders. Oh, yeah, he is bad. And should feel bad.
Your music's bad and you should feel bad.
Weird coincidence, too, because the first ever KFC franchise was in Salt Lake City.
Everything about him is fucking garbage.
I don't know
will
a guy
never
in this.
forget the stunt he pulled on Ron Paul back when he was on CNN. CNN Headline News, like the second CNN channel, which, by the way, Glenn Beck worked for CNN. Let's never forget that. He was talking about how this was during like the 2012 election cycle. Ron Paul's so naive because he doesn't want to bomb brown people for Israel. And what do you say to this, Mr. Paul? And he kept cutting to an empty chair and acting like Ron Paul was like too scared to come on his show. He didn't invite Ron Paul on his show, which he then later had to admit, because Ron Paul like the next day was on like network saying like, yeah, he never like invited me on. I don't know what the fuck he's talking about. You know, but once Trump came along, suddenly Beck was very concerned about the Constitution and limited government.
Here's the low-hanging fruit of Joe Biden, with that's his focus now.
Somebody says, somebody in the chat says, you've been ragging on Glenn Beck ever since I subscribed to you 5 years ago. Motherfucker, I've been ragging on Glenn Beck ever since I first discovered him in 2002. I remember, you know, fucking just tuning that guy in the morning, and I'm like, who the fuck is this asshole?
Glenn Beck had a very brief window of opportunity at the beginning of his CNN headline show because it seemed like he was just going to try and be like a funny guy instead of a serious political commentator, and boy, did he squander that opportunity fast.
And I remember when he went on Fox News like a couple years later, and he just basically ripped off Alex Jones's show while at the same time undermining Alex Jones all the time. Like, Alex Jones is crazy. Now let me give you the watered down Alex Jones show. With my fucking blackboard and shit. Like, oh yeah, the Cheeto dust thing. God, fuck that guy.
He's pretty much he's pretty much lost everything. Now, CRTV had to buy him out.
Oh yeah, he's the worst in Glenn Beck though. And again, this was years ago. This was like 2016 when I'd still like hear him on the radio because like I had a job at the time where I could listen to like radio shows and podcasts while I was working. He had these two fucking sidekicks. I want to say they were called Pat and Stu, right? These fucking yammering sphincters that just giggle at every terrible dad joke Glenn Beck tells. And then once in a while, Glenn Beck would not be there, and it would just be Pat and Stu. And that's some of the worst radio you could possibly fucking imagine. Oh my God, Luke, I forgot about the Sarah Palin thing. Oh my God, remember when he read Sarah Palin's Hello Kitty diary? Oh, that was so uncomfortable. Oh, like, Luke, we gotta have sound for this one. Oh, is he gonna tell her I wrote about you in my journal? Oh God, it was so uncomfortable.
Wait. He's got a Moleskine too, so he's going for the super artist pretentious market.
Had you seen this? I have to.
I've seen it.
This before. God, this is amazing.
I've seen it, but I don't remember the Moleskine.
I'm trying to find the book.
Yeah, it's Hello Kitty diary. Oh man. God, you know, there was an interview that Hannity gave with Sarah Palin during that election cycle that was a little uncomfortable. Like, it kept feeling like, Hannity, you're a married man. Are you going to lean in and kiss this woman? What's going on? It's nothing, though, compared to Glenn Beck's, like, I wrote about you in my journal. Oh, my God. It's so uncomfortable.
This spot, because of that statue and what it means. Before we start, Sarah, I want to read to you what I wrote last night in my journal. because it's about you.
Oh my God, Rapo!
Tomorrow I meet Sarah Palin.
She's just like, is this nigga serious?
Tomorrow I meet Sarah Palin and family for the first time.
Oh my
I'm actually
God.
a little nervous, as she is one of the only people that I can see that can possibly lead us out of where we are. I don't know yet if she's strong enough, if she's well enough advised, or if she knows she can no longer trust anyone. I don't know if she can lead and not lose her soul. That is where I'd like to go for the
Oh
next
my
hour.
God, look at
Find out
this.
if
This
she's
is
a woman that-
physically uncomfortable to watch.
Oh my God, he's going to skin me and wear me as a suit.
She's just looking at him like, oh, like, is this fucking happening? Is this real? Am I having a stroke, or is he actually doing this?
It could lead us and not lose her soul. Hang on, here we go. When we were just in the theme there, you just said 2 words.
That trust thing, you nailed it with that question. You know, trustworthy people surrounding us, leading us. We've got to be able to trust them. Very, very dangerous to trust people in this business of politics, Glenn.
You know, there's the reason why I selected this.
Look at him
particular
leaning
location
forward.
for several reasons, but one of them is
So
essentially the main reason.
shoulders.
There are very few things. If I say, think of the Capitol building, you don't trust it.
Like, this is
Think of
supposed
the
to be a
courthouse.
professional interview. What are you doing? Oh, that is so uncomfortable to watch. That is so... Like, I just physically shiver watching it.
This
Like,
is
oh
like
my
two.
God.
This is like 2 physical positions away from a femdom video.
Never do trust that anymore. Think of the moment and the specific person where it took my breath away and I went, oh my gosh, I'm living in a different world. Do you know that moment?
I know
You?
that moment. Todd and I have had those moments with those around us. Happens to be those who have been in the political arena.
I know
Not
that
in our
moment.
real,
It's
our
when I
real
started
world, our
talking to
family.
you.
Trust people there, but yeah, not a comfortable place to be when
Yeah,
there's
it's
so
not a
much
comfortable
doubt
place to be
who
in.
you can trust.
Did you know, or will you share the moment when you were out on the road and you realized, I am surrounded by sharks. I'm surrounded by people who I didn't even think people were really like this.
Voice.
You know, there were some of those who absolutely fit that description. There were others who were so amazing and awesome and sincere. And I thank God for those people who were surrounding the campaign who fit that description because they were
That's like the
essentially
tone a
the
man
saviors
takes
of-
when he suffered premature ejaculation.
I'm sorry, baby. It's been a while. Let me just go get a
Back
Gatorade.
when
I'll
we
have
joined.
round 2 ready soon.
We got to break that.
Well, we break that by at all levels, getting the real people, the sincere people, people who are almost reluctant.
That beginning is
I wrote
so...
notes here. Have both. I mean, do you? I was driving over. In fact, let me. I
Oh,
wrote
God,
some
you
notes
can
here.
go for that again?
No. No.
We
of
don't do
course
that
not. I wouldn't do
in
that. No. Okay. You and I both were. I think the #1 and #2 Halloween costume of the year. Did you know that? We both have been nailed on Saturday Night Live as being stupid.
Beck, you
we
were
also
not
both,
anyone's
just recently voted on
Halloween
the-
costume any fucking year. Bullshit. Like, yeah, everyone was laughing at Sarah Palin because she was goofy and funny, but she was also charming and people kind of liked her. The people, even the people that made fun of her, except for the hardest of hardcore leftists, still kind of liked her. Because she's hot and charming, okay? Nobody fucking cared about you, okay? Nobody dressed up as Glenn Beck for Halloween, okay? Unless it was like their girlfriend was dressed up like Sarah Palin and they were leading Glenn Beck around on a leash. That might have been a couple's costume at some point. But generally speaking, Beck, nobody fucking dressed up as you, okay? Don't fucking, I'm just like you, Sarah. No, you're not. No, you're not, okay?
By the way, is just me or is Brave allowing advertisers on YouTube now?
I'm sure Brave will have a new update that will, fix that.
Yeah, I had heard Brave was having that problem.
They had that problem like about 4 years ago.
Oh man, it's the beginning of this interview is so uncomfortable. It's so bad. Like I said, there's a Hannity interview with her that's sort of uncomfortable. Like there's sort of like weird shit going on throughout it, where like Hannity is a little too friendly with her. But let me put it this way: you kind of got the impression in the Hannity interview that he wanted to fuck her, but you also get the impression that he might have actually been able to fuck her. You know what I mean? Whereas this is somebody. This would be like if you try to hit on a bartender by rambling on about how much socialism is in America, It's just really awkward, and nobody wants to hear it. You know.
Fiction that Palin torpedoed McCain's campaign. Bitch, do you remember 08? The only time Methuselah McCain was competitive whatsoever was when Mondo Milf barreled through the front fucking door. For the briefest of moments, old Johnny McSee was able to maintain an election. You want to post
admired list of people in the world. We both have been on the cover of major magazines in the last year. We're both probably top 5 most hated people in America.
I dare say.
We are both told that we just don't get it. I mean, the list goes on and on and on. The coming out of nowhere, not having a being out of the system. Can you survive and be out of the system?
I think that there are a whole lot of us.
Really? Now Glenn Beck cares about people being outside the system now.
Let's watch the beginning.
Glenn Beck will show you
watch
the violence inherent in the system.
I gotta watch the beginning of this again. It's so bad.
Welcome to the Glenn Beck program. Tonight we are at Battery Gardens. It's a restaurant in Lower Manhattan. We're just a couple of blocks away from where the World Trade Center used to stand, and the Statue of Liberty in Ellis Island, or about a half mile out there. You can see the statue. We have a full hour with former Alaska Governor Sarah Palin. She's now a Fox News contributor, and this is the first time that we've actually sat in the same room and looked eyeball to eyeball with each other. And
Did Glenn Beck? Okay, pause. They were both working for Fox News at this time. On the off chance you should hear this, Mr. Beck, I have to ask you an honest question. Did you have an uncomfortable meeting with HR after this interview? Because you should have. You should have, okay?
Because of that statue and what it means. Before we start, Sarah, I want to read to you what I wrote last night in my journal, because it's about you. Tomorrow I meet Sarah Palin and family for the first time. I'm actually a little nervous, as
Luke,
she is one of the only
speed?
people that I can see.
Or did you go, I thought for a second you went lower than normal.
But earlier it was but faster. Now it's normal.
Like he's talking so slow.
That can possibly lead us out of where we are.
Look at her.
I don't know yet if she's strong enough, if she's well enough advised. She knows she can no longer trust anyone. I don't know if she can lead and not lose her soul. That is
where
I'd like to go for the next hour. Find out if this is the woman that could lead us and not lose her soul. Hang on, here we go.
That's sort of like uncomfortable biting your lip sort of thing. Like, don't get me wrong, there's a way a woman can be biting her lip when she's looking at you. It's quite the green light. But that's not that way. Oh man, that's uncomfortable, man. Oh boy. He's trying to seem like he admires her career. Yeah, he admires her career, all right. God, that's so weird. It's so like, okay, even if that was two dudes or something, the inappropriate fanboyism of it is uncomfortable before you even take into effect the fact that he's clearly thirsty. Oh God, when he was on his knees. Oh God, let's pray for Trump to get defeated. Oh, God, this man.
Oh, it's memorializing Getty Images too.
This man just has cuck energy about him. This honest to God, Glenn, if your media company ever goes completely tits up, you have a bright future playing cucks and cuck porn. Oh God. That's just so uncomfortable. Alright. Well, we've been going on for a while. Over 2 hours now. And I'm sure it's like 5 in the morning for Forney, so he's probably going to want to get to bed.
Close. It's 5:45.
Oh, good Lord. Oh. So, folks, if you enjoy the content I put out... Oh, that reminds me, real quick. Duke of Tumwater, you sent a super chat when I wasn't live. It says, have you seen these Owen Benjamin videos? Unfortunately, I can't really copy and paste out of the Streamlabs. I did actually type them up. The links weren't working. And I did try typing them multiple